All right, what it is. Y'all already know it is. The big bounce hog, bounce dog, can't poke through the door. Here to talk this boxing. Before I get in my soliloquy. Remember, tough times don't last. Good people do. Don't off yourself. Call them in if I lie me a million matter. Peak game, 84s on Will Swain. Y'all know what this is, man. It's Clutch Factor, baby. We clutched up, we clutched out. You know what we're talking about. We talking about that boxing. You know what I mean? But before we get into meat, potatoes, the main entree, the main dish, everything, gotta introduce the second host. Future Hall of Famer, as a coach, future pro, head trainer in the sport of boxing. Brody on the hustle, aka Coach B. Let them know how you doing, man.
Hey, what it is, folks, just like Capo said, we clutched up, we clutched out. You know what we here to talk about. You about to spend the next 30 minutes to an hour with your two favorite hosts that'll never leave you in the dark about any post if we choose to put our stamp on it when it comes to the boxing scene. Now, y'all know what I'm going to tell y'all. Hey, God woke you up. He put breath in your body. Everything after that is extra. Do what you got to do. Take care of you. Take care of the fam. You feel me? All right. Now,
Mm-hmm.
K Poden broke everything down. Let's go ahead and get into the meat and potatoes of the situation. You know what I'm saying? Don't hate as we navigate. Just congratulate. You feel me? But anyways, K-Po, let's go ahead and get it going. So what we here to present to y'all is we want to talk about, the current state of boxing from what we have viewed thus far in 2025, and then we're gonna slowly bring along and talk about the future of boxing. We're gonna break it down from what we have seen, thus far this year. How do we feel about the current state of boxing? Do we feel like it's kind of time to let the new wave take over? But the first topic at hand, I'm gonna let Capo go ahead and spit on this one first. Basically, my question to you, the viewers, the commenters, the shares, the likers, subscribers, feel free to comment and say what you got to say on this topic. Please do, because we love to get y'all opinion, and we also gonna provide y'all feedback. So with that being said, how do you 100% feel about the current state of boxing? I'm talking about the fighters that are supposed to be the representation of the sport to the fullest. How do you feel that they're currently representing boxing in 2025 thus far? Go ahead, let them know something.
Straight off the back, no muscle. I said no muscle. Straight off the back, no side effects. I'm gonna keep it 1,000. Current state of boxing to me is trash. Um, uh, I don't feel like we got a good representation. You got a lot of fighters that are politicking, using, uh, excuses not to fight each other. Um, you got some fighters who are looking at themselves bigger than what they really are. It's just a lot of pansying and going on. And I just think that a lot of fighters just need to fight. Just shut up and fight. And I know that's gonna sound harsh. That's gonna sound like, I'm trying to diminish them. But what I'm saying is that when you want to be the best, you genuinely show you want to be the best. You genuinely get in there and you fight anybody, right? Because you see the reward. Like, I don't mean to keep using this guy, but look at Shakur Stevenson. Shakur Stevenson had the opportunity to fight David Haney. He turned down that fight in the past because he felt like he should get paid more money. Okay, and I understand that, but at the same time, think about the reward. If you would have fought Devin Haney, took that money that they gave you, fought Devin Haney, yesterday's price is not today's price. You would have been unified champion, and going into this Tank situation, you have more leg room and more power to demand things. Right now, if Tank, how Shakur is right now, if Shakur come to the table with Javante Tank Davis right now and say, "Hey, I want this," he not gonna get it. He gotta do whatever Tank tell him. So if Tank say, "Hey, bro, you gonna fight with Everlast gloves on, the Velcro ones from Walmart," that's what he gotta fight him. So I just think the current state of boxing, the people who are at the top, right, the Crawfords, the Canelos, the Shakurs, the Tanks, they're not putting on a good representation for the young guys coming into this boxing game. You already got one guy, Keyshawn Davis, who's going down that road. He's refusing to fight Andy Cruz, talking about y'all gotta offer me so and so amount of money to fight him. So uh hopefully, these young fighters, all of them don't go down that road. Seems like Abdullah Mason ain't finna go down that road. But we shall see. In my opinion, the current state of boxing is trash.
Okay, and I'm gonna go ahead 100% agree with you. The fighters in today's era are looking to leverage themselves, but yet they haven't built a resume to leverage themselves upon. What are you saying, Coach B? Okay, you have guys who's accomplished a lot in the sport. I'll be honest, they've accomplished a lot. They're decorated. They're Olympians. They're Golden Glove champions and all that other good stuff. They've done a lot for the sport of boxing. But thus far, they're trying to leverage and outweigh their opposition, who also is a top of the line guy, you know. But at the same time, it's like when you go start breaking down some of these resumes, it's like, okay, we got this guy versus this guy, and this guy saying he won't fight this guy unless he gets this split or the bigger cut. Okay, push come to shove, we comb through the resumes, we comb through what they've done, and it's like this kind of is a tit for tat situation. So really, at this point, does it matter who gets the bigger cut? It does, in a sense. It does when it comes to viewership, promotional sponsorships, and all that. It matters in a sense. But really, when we really get down to what we're really trying to place our eyes upon, is what happens in the ring. And a lot of these guys in today's era haven't really accomplished what we've put them up against for them to be saying, I'm the better guy, I'm the bigger fighter, I bring the most viewers, I bring the most sponsorships, I bring the most money to the table. It's like, I can care less about all that right now. I can care what they put in your pocket. The leverage comes within the resume. If your resume doesn't scream, hey, I get a 60-40 split, or I get a 75-25 split, or however they want to break the contracts down through, personal business or the promotional companies, however they want to break all that down, the resumes are not screaming that from today's fighters, and that's where we get the struggle. Then you also got to toss in the guys who grew up watching Floyd Mayweather. I hate to keep bringing them up, but so many fighters are trying to build themselves around having longevity and finishing undefeated, that they're really missing out on true opportunities to become a pure, hands down, no doubt, you can't kick them out Hall of Famer. They're dancing around the real scenario. Get in the ring and fight each other. And once y'all fight each other, when push comes to shove, you got an elite versus another elite. Then y'all can get into the nitty gritty in the penmanship battle on who gets the split. But right now, I don't care about none of y'all splits, because none of y'all even showing or having true representation of being the guy who can control the split. It's not too many guys out there with a resume where you can say, okay, pipe all that down, I'm getting the bigger split. Like Capo said, if I want you to fight in Walmart Velcro Everlast gloves, that's what you're gonna fight in. But push come to shove, if you really that guy, okay, you calling me out, you pushing my button, let me go get my Velcros, I can go get 4-5 of them, I'll let you pick the color, I'll let you feel the pattern and everything. I'm finna head to Walmart right now, let's get it on and popping, cracking, jumping, shaking, however you want to put it, let's get it going. It's too many guys out here dancing around each other, saying they the best, and they resume don't even scream they the best, and they don't even want to get in there with each other and prove that they the best, because they so focused on retiring undefeated, retiring with the most viewership, with the most fans, with the most respect. Like, forget all that, man. Get in the ring and scrap. And again, like Capo said, today's representation of boxing from the top is absolute garbage. It's trash. Now, that it does exclude some fighters that just so happen to be stuck in this era and caught up in between, this era of prima donnas. You know what I'm saying? There are some fighters out there, and we finna get into them in a second as we segue off into the next subject. There are some fighters out there who have that real elite champion nonchalant, I just want to fight the best of the best and see who's the real champion, who's the real elite, who's the real Hall of Famer attitude. There are guys out there like that. Now let's go ahead and segue into the next topic. The new wave, the guys that are trying to break through, They trying to come to the forefront. They trying to shine brighter than the sun. They trying to shine brighter than the moon at night. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about guys like Abdullah Mason, Cromel Moton. I don't even want to toss this guy in there, but he's slowly. Well, I ain't gonna say slowly. He's for sure, for certain, one of those guys who's shining bright. Inoue. I want to talk about the Shushu Carringtons. You got a plethora of guys out there that just need this old school prima donna. I grew up watching Floyd era to get out of the way so they can go ahead and make boxing great again. You know what I'm saying? And K-Paul, I'm finna toss it to you. How do you feel about the new wave as they come about? Do you think they'll be able to restore the real sport of boxing, the true grind, grit, the true great versus great, elite versus elite? Do you think they're going to be able to restore that and get the boxing world back to where it used to be, the best versus the best, nonstop?
I didn't know Now knew it was like 32 years old, so he almost our age. But
right. I just found that out too.
I was like, that boy old. But I believe so. I believe Abdullah Mason's, Kermel Moton. I believe those guys. Now, Kermel Moton is, being, promoted by Floyd. So, Floyd bought his money. So he gonna move his fighters how he want to move them. But I believe Abdullah Mason and all those young guys, will be able. It's guys that fight on Pro Box TV. It's guys that fight on OTX who are, they taking tough fights. You know what I mean? So I definitely think that, this next era, this next wave can rewrite how boxing is viewed. You know what I mean? Boxing is a warrior sport, okay? And I want people, I don't mean to get preachy, but I got to go down this road. It's a warrior. When you get in that ring, bro, you're a warrior. That's how I look at myself that's how I looked at myself, my bad, when I was a former amateur fighter. I looked at myself as a warrior, right? This is not a game where we play pity pat. This is not a game. It's not a game. This is a fight. You're going to war, right? And it's like a lot of these fighters are trying to take matchups that favor their style. And me, if I'm a fighter, I'm trying to correct my weaknesses, right? And when I see Abdullah Mason, right, and we'll use him. He's a perfect example. He had that fight with that dude that had that reverse ball fade. I thought that was crazy. That boy haircut was stupid. I don't know what the hell I was thinking, bro. But get back on topic. He knocked Abdullah Mason down twice in that fight. What did Abdullah Mason do in that fight? Okay, yeah, he knocked the dude back down. He cut it up. He got the knockout. But second fight after that, what did he do? He didn't make those same mistakes, right? He didn't shell up and, okay, I got knocked down, I'm a fool. No, he's a warrior, right? And we seeing too many fighters, they don't want to look vulnerable, right? From Canelo down, they don't want to look vulnerable because they want to continue to look a certain way. They want to look invincible. Bro, this is boxing. And at the end of the day, some vulnerability is going to be shown. Forget the vulnerabilities. How do you bounce back from the vulnerabilities? Right? That shows your mental toughness. That's how I see it if a dude a true champion, in my opinion. Right? Coach may have another opinion. Y'all may have y'all own opinion. But I see the heart of a dude when he makes a mistake and he falls. What do? Do you fold or do you stand up and you say, let's get it? And I'm not talking about just going war to war, just brawling in there. I'm talking about you still fundamentally sound, but you like, I'm not losing. Or your next fight, you rebound and you correct that mistake. That's what I see in Abdullah Mason. Keep getting better. That dude a warrior, bro. Kermel Moton, he a warrior. All these young fighters, the Vargas dynasty, they warriors. You know what I mean? They ain't backing down from nothing. They knew it. Prime example. Knocked down in the fight, came back. After that round, he got knocked down and he dominated it. And a stopping dude. Mm-hmm. So all I'm saying at the end of the day is, to y'all young fighters, you got to be a warrior in there. You got to have that mindset of a warrior. I know you want the money, you want the career high paydays, but that stuff gonna come if you just fight, bro. If you just fight and you putting on great performances, the money gonna come. Fight. So that's my 2 cents. Shout out to 2 cents.
Shout out, yes, big shout out to 2 cents. We gotta connect with her soon. But I mean, again, 1000% agree with everything Capo just said. The new wave, I think they'll definitely be able to, retool, reshape, revamp, restore the sport of boxing. And I think once they get a chance to get to the forefront and some of these older cats who came from, the Floyd Mayweather era, excuse me, once they get out of the way, the new wave of boxers, like you said, Abdullah Mason, Carmel Moulton, I forgot to mention Baron Rodriguez. I'm not even gonna call him new because he's been doing this thing for a while now. But once they get a chance to get to the forefront, I believe they'll be able to restore and make boxing great again. But again, the current state of boxing as of right now is trash. Now, with that being said, there was a little snippet, not even a snippet, a little few bars Inoue had put out after he finished his fight here on American soil. He simply said, not verbatim of what I'm saying, but basically my guy Inoue said, he said, American fighters are scared to get hit. They're too scared to lose. They're too worried about keeping their O. And after I read that, I was like, maybe this guy could be on to something. And yes, we are segueing off into our last topic of this episode. We're going to talk about Inoue. Now, before we get all the way into it, let me just say this. I've never really had a chance to watch an Inoue fight all the way through, either because I'm at work or the timing just don't line up. Because, when he fighting on his soil, it's a completely different time. It might be nighttime over here and morning time over there, however the case may be, vice versa. But his last fight, like Capo just mentioned, it showed me how much of a dog and how much of a champion and how much he really wants to be he wants to be a Hall of Famer. Because like Capo said, like we always say, hell, even in our lifetime, growing up playing sports, we didn't always have it figured out. There was people who told us, no, you can't do this, you can't do that. We done been knocked on our ass, excuse my French, got up, dusted off, and got right back in the fold in the thick of things, and we figured it out. Next thing we know, we at the top of the top doing what we do. But at the same time, let's keep it with the subject at hand. Anyway, got knocked down in his last fight. It was one of those punches he didn't see coming. He was being lackadaisical. He threw a punch. He kind of wasn't expecting his opponent to throw a counter punch. Anyway, he got lazy. He dropped his right hand. Boom, caught him right in the face. He dropped down. He was knocked down. Got up, looked across the ring, kind of finished the round. And when he came out, the next round, it was like, game on. Appreciate the challenge. Duel accepted. Let's get it. He completely turned the fight around. I'm talking about fundamentals intact, hands up, jabbing like he's supposed to, countering when he's supposed to counter, throwing power shots when he's supposed to throw power shots, throwing volume shots when he's supposed to throw volume shots. He was doing everything as if his life depended on it. You know what I'm saying? He answered the call. And like I say, it's not too many fighters we get to see in today's era who has done that and will continue to keep doing that. After Inoue got knocked down, I was like, oh, he can do that. He looked like he can do that in every fight. He looked like he can get knocked down, get up, and finish damn near every fight against any opponent you put him in there with. And it's not because he has the greatest assets as a boxer. Because he's not going to be the biggest. He's not the fastest. He's not going to be the most fundamentally sound because he has flaws in his fight. That's cool. But at the same time, what does a man do when he gets knocked down? And he got up and he showed 100% representation of what a man is when you get in there as a pro fighter and as a boxer and you have shed blood, sweat, and tears into the sport of boxing. He showed what it really meant to be a professional fighter here on American soil. Now, that was one of my biggest knocks on Inoue. No, he didn't come out here and face the toughest of the tough opponents, excuse me. But at the same time, I said he needs to start coming out here on American soil and start fighting, because I believe that'll make a difference in what he's showing, and that'll build his fan base a little bit more. Even though he already has, as Capo would say, a cult-like following. You know what I'm saying? He has his own, country behind him, so he really don't need what we got over here. He got his followers. But anyways, like I said, the guy, he changed my opinion. I know a lot of people was talking about he was a pound for pound fighter of the year last year. He was the best fighter. He was the top of the top. He was the most elite, and I didn't see it, but I was watching highlights. I'm like, you know what? Highlights don't always show. They show what we really looking for when we trying to figure out what it is about this guy that makes him elite. But at the same time, when I seen his last fight, I was like, this guy, he has the it. He got the it factor. Now, with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and pass it to K-Po. K-Po, go ahead and let him know how you flow and how you feel about Inoue.
Inoue is an all-time great right now, in my opinion. Just his spirit, right? I mean, Coach later on the line, man, he talked about how that man got knocked down, he got back up, and it was game on after that knockdown. He dominated the fight, and he's 100% right about American fighters. American fighters don't want to get hit. I hate to keep bringing this dude up, Devin Haney. Look at his last fight, Shakur Stevenson. Boxing is, I gotta say it again, is a warrior sport. You're gonna get hit, right? Now, I'm not sitting here telling you to, have the same fighting style as Nayo Inoue. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, you gotta set your mind on, I'm gonna get hit with something hard, or I may get knocked down, but hey, it is what it is. I'm finna get up, I'm finna fight. You gonna have to kill me in here. It's a quote that Floyd Mayweather said back in the day. He said he told Shane Mosley, when Shane Mosley caught him with that shot, he said, you're going to have to kill me. That's what he told him. You're going to have to kill me. That's what makes Floyd Mayweather so unique, is because although he was a masterclass boxer and a great boxing mind in that ring, and he can adjust to anything, he was like water. He could just form to whatever he needed to form to beat you, right? But he was a complete fighter. He was a warrior. He was intelligent. He had the grit. He had the dog in him. He had the finesse as well. That's what you got to be as a fighter. There's some fights you may be able to get in there and bulldoze a dude. There's some fights you may have to be in there and finesse a dude. Right? There's a fight you got to do a little bit of both. Okay? I've watched Nayo Inoue. For his time frame, he do a little bit of everything. But he's not scared to take risks. And that's what separates him from other guys in boxing right now. That's why I got him in my top 2 pound for pound. Because he's not afraid to take risks. He know, okay, boom, all right, I'm going to try this to see what happens. He may get countered and get dropped. But he like, okay, I'm going to get my bearings together. And then I'm finna come back. I know I can't do that again. Let me come back, make adjustments, and I'm going to get Buddy out of there. And that's what he do every time. So you got to pay homage and respect to a dude like that, Now, we want to see him in there with a Bam Rodriguez. We want to see him in there with a Shushu, right? It may be too soon for Shushu. But eventually we want to see him in there with these guys. I want to see a rematch between him and Fulton. Right? Now that Fulton's got Bozy in his corner. I want to see that. I want to see how he adjusts. Right? But I honestly believe that he probably can beat all them dudes easily again. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because of his boxing mind. But also the grit. I told you. I'm not comparing Nayo Inoue to Floyd Mayweather. So, because you're always going to be one stupid person that come in, oh, it's Nayo Inoue. It's not Floyd Mayweather. I'm not comparing them two. Okay? Hold your horses, player. I'm just sitting there saying, in his own way, he's a complete fighter in his own way. That's all I got to say.
All right. To sum it all up, current state of boxing, trash. New wave that's coming along, trying to break through, get to the forefront. Hopefully, they will restore the respect, the true grind, the true grit, the sport of a warrior, the sport of a champion, back to what it used to be before we went through a few eras that kind of changed the state of boxing. Anyway, he gained my respect. He has my respect. He is top 3 on my pound for pound list right now. So, with all that being said, I just want to say a few more things. We're going to go ahead and let Capo close us out. I want the current state of boxing to stop taking fights for the love of money because it's not doing nothing for y'all. Yeah, you trying to solidify your future. Yeah, you trying to take care of your kids, but at the same time, you hurting the sport of boxing by doing what you're doing because it's gonna keep being guys that are gonna come out and try to follow the blueprint. Remember, you paved the way for what's coming from behind. You don't pave the way for what's gonna happen in the front. You know what I'm saying? You clear the road to make sure we can drive through it smoothly. You don't clear the road and leave the road bumpy. That don't make sense. You don't leave unanswered questions. You don't leave fights on the table. You don't leave fights on the table because you want the bigger split. You don't leave fights on the table because you feel like this guy hasn't accomplished nothing. You don't leave fights on the table because it just wasn't the right time and it's a lot of excuses that can be made, but it's only one right decision that you can make when you putting together your resume, and that's really and truly in your mind, are you going to finish and retire as the best of the best because you fought the best of the best, not because you fought to get the biggest bag or you fought to get the biggest social media followers or you fought to get the biggest, you know, ticket and fill out arenas and you keep breaking that. That's not what y'all here to fight for. That's not initially what y'all got in the sport of boxing for. You got in the sport of boxing since you was yay high or however old you was when you got into the sport of boxing. You got in there because you thought you could whoop everybody's ass on that block. Period. Excuse my French. You thought you can whoop everybody's ass who was in your city, who was in your state, who was across state. When you got the Golden Gloves, when you got to the Olympics, you did that because you thought you can whoop everybody. And you weren't getting paid then, but now you're getting paid, and now you choose to do this and that and the third because you big dog, top dog, and you make money and you get people to, watch your fight. That ain't like cool. That's cool. We want you to get paid, but we want you to also do it in the right manner. But like I say, I'm gonna go ahead and put the stick down. I don't want to keep beating the dead horse. That's all I got to say, K-Po. If you got anything else to say, go ahead and say it. And when you're done with it, go ahead and close us out.
Man, I ain't got nothing to say, man. All I got to keep saying is this: keep supporting the channel. We gonna continue to stay in your throat. We're gonna continue to stay in your head, man. We working. I got some things on the queue, you know what I mean, for the channel. Uh, and Coach got some things in the queue for the channel. We ain't content, man. We really dudes that really come from nothing was given to us. Like, we had to really make a way for ourselves. So, best believe this channel gonna grow, you know. Um, so continue to support us on this journey. We're gonna continue to get better. We grown men. We're not opposed to any criticism. If you got anything in the comment section that's gonna help our channel, put it in there. Pause. If you start talking reckless, don't be surprised if you get checked by me or Coach. Like I told you, we're grown men. So keep supporting the channel. Keep supporting us on this journey. We got some more videos coming, man. We got some big fights possibly coming up. Manny Pacquiao, Barrios,
Mm-hmm.
Tim Tszyu, Sebastian Fundora. So
Mm-hmm.
if y'all want us to talk about that, put it in the comment section, man. We love to interact. But like I tell y'all, man, we clutched up. We clutched out. You know what we're talking about. I'm Boss. It's Coach. We out here.
Salute.